Rock concert movement number 1. The basic head bob. Ready, go.
I can't remember how everything works. It's been a while. All right, Bradshaw with you here. Look at that. I even go to the left on the screen. What does Ed do when he's in here? Just rearranges everything.
One of his viewers calls it the Ed Off Center show.
How did, like, like, pan the camera. Do I have to get up and, I don't know how this works. It's got a remote control, right?
Yeah.
So you can, like, center it.
You know, I had a 4-day weekend, right? So I'm just not really all that.
I'm completely, I'm spilling things on myself.
I'd have to get the remote. It sits over there somewhere.
That's like a whole 3 feet away.
Yeah, I don't know if I might have to get up.
This is what happened. See, none of us won the Powerball, so we're all like, well, did you buy a Powerball ticket?
I didn't even play, unfortunately.
When it gets to like 300 million, whoa, there we go. Or like 250, I'll buy a ticket because, like, I know I'm not going to win. Do I need to move over now? Is that? Oh.
Well, I was trying not to zoom in on you. I mean, you're not that good looking.
I'm all right. I've been up in the hinterlands. Like, I've become whiter just from being in Wisconsin.
Which I didn't even know was possible.
I am flaming Caucasian, but, I buy the Powerball ticket just for the, because you get like 10 minutes of pipe dream out of it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to buy cars and jewelry, or, I'll be able to provide, Mine is, maybe I'm weird this way. I try to come up with new and unusual ways of not letting anybody know I ever won. That's because I've heard too many horror stories. Like, how many people, win a lottery? And I don't know if it's worse to win like $500 million.
The suicide rate on those is phenomenal.
Or if you just win like $750,000. Because
I don't know. I need at least a couple million because I want to replace my legs with robotic legs. It's
Darth
risky.
Maul style.
Nah, it's a risky operation, but it's totally worth it.
There's different, and I don't know what exactly the dollar amount is, but I like to call it F off money. I don't censor myself when I'm not. But like where it doesn't matter what I do, like I can do like anything, and it doesn't matter. And the consequence, I can just say F off. I was, it was probably 100 million, somewhere between 50 and 100 million. Where even if you go through just a short Brewster's Millions period, kind of lose your mind and go nuts, like you still haven't like completely decimated yourself. Because the one thing I would want to avoid is the press conference, like where you stand up and Terry Rich hands you a giant check. Like, why you're only inviting every rip-off artist, scammer, down on his luck person you've met in your entire life to all of a sudden look you up and they want to be your buddy, and can you just float him $50,000? I've got a great idea for, whatever. I need $100,000. And because you have this
That's why
money,
you donate it all to charity, and then they can't do that.
Well, no, I wouldn't do that.
Well, you just make up a fake charity. I didn't say real charities.
Well, I do like an LLC or something, or a blind trust. Remember that guy got in all that trouble? There was like a Brazilian guy who had a lawyer and was trying to claim a Powerball ticket, and they couldn't quite, they were negotiating on how to do it, and was the ticket real, and how did he come to own it? Remember there was all that drama a year or two ago?
No, don't remember that.
But I like the problem.
I'd have cashed it for him.
When you have that amount of cash, though, just every person you meet, like, thinks, so you've got so much money, why can't you give me some? And if you don't, you're obviously a dick. Like, that's the only reason you're not giving, because you have so much of it, just give it to me. And, every extended relative, like you met once back in 1984 or something.
I know exactly what you mean. It's just like the Democratic Party.
Okay, I don't mind paying taxes on it. That doesn't bother me.
I'm just giving you crap.
But, like everyone just comes up to you and Like, I would want to avoid that. Like, I
Yeah, I'm
always said,
sure
like,
it's horrible.
like a lot of people use money to kind of buy their way into society. Like, yes, I'm a pudgy, jowly,
That's how Bill
balding
Gates made it.
doctor. All right. But I own a Lamborghini, and I can pick up shallow 21-year-old women. Look at me. So you go down like southern Florida, it's absolutely full of them. You'll be sitting there and like in your economy rent a car, right? And a $500,000 Mercedes will pull up next to you.
But this is where my fighter pilot theory wins.
Fighter pilot.
Yeah, I live by the airport, so every day I get to see the fighter wing. And those guys have the baddest ass job in the world. Because you could be a rich doctor with a Lamborghini, and the 21-year-old girl's going to go, what do you do for a living? You'd be like, I'm a fighter pilot. And pretty much you win no matter what anybody else does.
Yeah, when you say Iowa Air National Guard, then, the thinking woman, the cultured,
well, we weren't talking about those
one
anyway.
You want. It's like, really, you get a lot of fighter attacks on Iowa. Are they coming to bomb your soybeans or something?
Actually, the fighter wing here is protect Offutt Air Force Base, which, of course, is just a hop, skip, and a jump away for a fighter jet.
Oh, yeah, you can be there in a couple minutes. But the point, it's not exactly like you say, like, yeah, I'm a fighter pilot. And then you say, in Iowa. It loses some of the luster.
Well, that's why you don't tell them where you're
That's
from.
like saying,
They
I'm
don't
a
have to know
football
that.
player. The Chiefs. Oh, that's too bad.
That's pretty harsh.
But that's kind of what it's,
Well, but don't say you're from Iowa. Plus, they're not all from Iowa. I mean,
they're based in Iowa.
Yeah,
their planes are here in Iowa. They fly over most of the time. Iowa,
sure.
Loudly.
Thankfully for Tom Cruise and Top Gun, though, they've set those guys up for life.
If you enjoy homoerotic volleyball scenes, absolutely.
Yeah, but all you got to do in a party is go, I'm a fighter pilot. It wins.
I guess. But the pudgy doctor with amount of money can attract a certain subset of the female species.
Yeah, but now he has to spend money.
And they're fine with that. They're buying their way into society. Like, it doesn't matter how you made the money. It doesn't matter if you're any good or if you're a decent human being. You've got money. You're someone to be admired. You're famous or whatever. How about Chris Brown? It was one of the guys from BuzzFeed. Said, you want to lose your faith in humanity?
I thought you were talking about the guy that beat Rihanna.
Yeah. Google Chris Brown. Or go on Twitter and say, look up Chris Brown can beat me. And it's like, you go and read that stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, my faith in mankind. There are women who throw themselves. I would say at the feet, but he's more of a puncher than a kicker.
Yeah, he
so
seems to
throw themselves at the fist.
He's got he was sitting passenger when that happens. I mean, he's got a mean right cross.
That's just the whole thing. Now, I want, short story long, I want to buy my way out of society. I want to build.
I'd get an island.
Yeah, they have their agencies that sell private islands. Yeah,
I would name my own island and declare its independence from the UN.
You just have to set up okay, mom, dad, you each get $1 million. Brother, here's your $1 million, and then you just gotta disappear off the face of the earth. I mean, how long would it take for people to forget you?
I don't know. It'd be
Because
hard.
I'd want to know that amount, and that's the amount I would stay. Where do you go to avoid? Do I have to move to Moose Knuckles, Saskatchewan, or something?
No, because I'd declare war on another island sooner or later. I mean, Bill Gates.
I'm not looking to
Bill Gates' island become mine.
My own sea land or anything. I've read so many horror stories. It's ruined. People's you have all this money, and you can never trust any human being you run across ever again. They all get divorced. They all
go bankrupt.
A lot of them go. Well, and that's what happened. If you won $2 million, that's enough to set you up
for life. Yeah, sure.
For life, if you're smart.
Sure.
But how many people are smart when handed a suitcase with $2 million in it?
No,
I'd rather
most of them will have a $2 million crack party.
Yeah, well, who was the guy multiple times had a $500,000 in negotiable bonds sitting in the front seat of his car and had it stolen at a bar. It happened to him multiple times. Oh, my satchel with $50,000 cash. He's Jesse Pinkman for some reason. This is even the pitfalls. So instead of talking about all the great things, it's almost an excuse for me to get neurotic about, oh my God, how am I going to survive winning this? Which I'm sure becomes simpler with a couple $100 million at your disposal. And now Wednesday, because no one won on Saturday when it was, so they're saying like a $425 million Powerball jackpot. And I think it's worth the $2 just.
I'll go in on some tickets.
Well, I see. Now that I wouldn't want to do. Like if it's one of these groups, because they sue each other and get into fights. Because then, like Tim in accounting, see, he put in $10, and Dwayne in shipping only put in $2. And if they get an even split, well,
you'd just be dead if we won.
I'm gonna sue. Yeah. See, if it was like a long term, like written up with people that I knew for a long time and trusted.
There's no amount of for $400 million. There's no piece of paper that I would trust enough. There's nobody.
Well, no, that's the thing. They all start suing each other, and
you would end up in a ditch.
A million crappy lawyers are calling you. Every shady financial. Like I told you, story, when I was named program director over at Wow, I got my picture in the paper. They sent out a press release. Yes, I know, lame, not my call, not my doing, would never have happened if I had any say in the matter. But just off of that, I had like creepy, like financial planning guys.
I had that happen when I joined Iowa Realty.
Yeah, they start calling me, and like it wasn't just like one or two. That was like for that week, like half the phone calls I got. You get like calls.
Do you have any IRAs we need to move over
the
for you?
syndicators and stuff. Everyone's calling to congratulate you, and like that part timer you had in South Bend. Wants to know if you got any positions open. Like none you'd want.
I didn't get any of that. Cool. Do you have an IRA you need to have moved
well,
over?
And the other half of the calls were, these financial people who just, cold call, I guess, because obviously in a position such as that, I'm making the huge dollars.
What in Iowa?
Hundreds of dollars a week.
I bet. Yeah, I bet you're making hundreds of millions of pennies over the course of a decade.
Like, here's my portfolio. It's plastic. It's made by 5-Star. It holds papers, and there's some pens in there. Transport my iPad with it.
And not the nice pens. They're like the cheap dollar store Bics.
No, they're not at Target, but you buy in bulk. I've never been a fancy pen guy. Like 4th grade, like, ooh, Flex Grip. Ooh. Or those ones where it had the 4 colors.
Oh, those are great because you tried to stick all 4 colors through the hole at once.
Yeah, you do that, or like, and then you'd run out everyone but the pink one. It's like, oh crap. Well, okay, guess I'm gonna start, putting a little heart over the eye in my. What the hell? Might as well give in. Put some puffy paint on it. Let's just give up on life. So I will buy probably 2 Powerball tickets, and it's a $4 investment in the dream. But there's part of me that doesn't want to win. It's all the mess and hassle that comes.
Well, that part's an idiot.
With it. Well, I don't know.
I will gladly
social person.
I will gladly deal with telling people no the rest of my life with my $4 million.
But you can never trust anyone.
I would Scrooge McDuck it. I would put it in a big vault. I would just swim through.
I think Tom Coates does with his cash. I think he's got a room in his palatial estate filled with it.
Does he have a palatial estate? I kind of imagine
I don't know.
like
That's just
an
what
Airstream.
He does with that crazy amount of cash.
He seems like an Airstream kind of guy. Like you find him someday parked out in an Airstream with his underwear hanging on a line. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I like Tom.
I would just like have to just up and disappear. I'd find a good lawyer. Tell him the deal. Don't tell anyone else that I had won. Try to do everything in my power to avoid having to do the Terry Rich press conference. Maybe send someone in my stead. And then just like hop a plane and disappear somewhere. Like,
couldn't you just legally change your name? Wouldn't that do it?
I mean, I guess, but I think those are public record.
No.
If you want to change your name to Meta World Peace or something.
Well, no, you just change it to something.
But I think that goes on public record.
I don't think so. I don't think you can.
Like, I think that's searchable. Like, could find.
I think there's certain reason. I think you can probably make it searchable, but I think there's ways of concealing a name change, like a legal one. Now, obviously, the government's still going to know who you are, but you already stated you didn't mind paying your fair share of
No,
taxes.
I'm fine. What do we Fletch? Fletch?
Yeah, because at that point, what is it? They take 50% at the 400 million mark, I'm sure. So you can get $200 million to.
Yeah, you're gonna half of it between state and federal taxes, and which part great. I'm doing my part because frankly, you never have to pay taxes on it again.
Yeah,
Like,
I would put it.
The guy like Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook.
Mhm.
I think Paul Allen, a couple other guys do this when they have their billions of dollars worth of stock. And I'm not a financial planner, don't try to. But they just take loans out using their immense holdings as capital, and there's a tax way there that basically what you end up it's borrowed money and you're not paying taxes on it.
And
don't ask me to describe. I'm not a.
But hopefully that doesn't fold up on him, because if something else comes out and he's borrowed against his stocks on Facebook, he could end up owing a lot of money to people he doesn't want to.
I mean, a decent amount, and then you're kind of set for life. And that's the first. I think that's the first thing you do when you win the lottery is you take. And I don't know who you could trust with this, but you take like $5 million, and you put it off somewhere, put it in bonds that roll over, or something that you can't touch, like a trust, and then you appoint someone the trustee, and it's
Sure.
like if I go on like just complete methamphetamine alcohol binge and blow it all. Right, it's their job to put me in rehab and get me dry and dangle the carrot of here's your remaining $5 million to live comfortably off of.
Sure.
That's just me.
You worried about getting a meth habit if you win this?
Well, you don't know what it's. I have no idea. I cannot. My brain.
I'm not going to use meth though. That's not going to make the situation better.
No, but I'm not saying make it better. I'm just saying you can't comprehend. Like, if you just had $250 million dropped on you, can you really put yourself in that position to kind of game out how you'll?
No, I mean, I'd be.
It's not something we can relate to.
I'd be the guy though. I think I could burn through that in a matter of weeks.
Oh, you certainly could. Karl Rove did it.
Yeah,
He blew through more than that. And
I may own
nothing.
I may own a couple private jets and like
Those
a
are just
Lamborghini.
money sinks.
Yeah, but you know what? I would just park it in front of my house and
You
leave
gotta have
it.
a pilot, and the maintenance is insane.
Well, no, you'd want to pilot yourself. I mean, I know it's a cool thing to have a private pilot, but
yeah, it worked out well for JFK Jr. Hey,
yeah.
why are we upside down over this body of water?
Well,
Kids, get your instrument rating is all I'm saying.
no big loss there.
Yeah, I can't comprehend what I would do, but I buy that 4 minutes, that 10 minutes, that 20 minutes of thinking about it. That's what you're buying with the Powerball ticket. And if you win all the helpful advice I've just given you, I'll take 5%.
Aren't you?
But
generous?
no one won Saturday, so it's $425 million. I got to go buy a couple tickets. That side of my head that knows math and odds just gets shouted down, right? That's the little devil on one shoulder. Like, it's not worth it for like a $5 million.
The odds are just as good for you as they are for anybody else.
Yeah, it's about 1 in 175 million.
Yeah, but you really have you have the exact same odds as everybody else that buys it. So somebody's going to win off of those impossible odds. So it might as well be you.
Yeah, you can't win if you don't play.
That's exactly right.
So I'm willing to ignore the math for.
See, I was
the
playing.
Opportunity cost.
I
is
was
still
trying to win
negative.
big today.
You did scratch. Okay, those are just the suckers bet.
You know what though? I love.
I don't have Iowa Lottery as a sponsor anymore, so I can talk freely about these things.
I love the pull tabs. They're just fun to play.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
same with the scratch tickets. They're just a waste of money.
Yeah, but I spent like $1, so.
If you're a person who plays the scratch tickets, just go look at FARC or something for a minute. Go listen to BBC so the rest of us can talk. In reality, and I mean this with all due respect, we've all been to convenience stores, right? We all shop at Come and Go or Quick Trip or Casey's, and we've all been in line behind that person with their pile of scratch-off tickets, right? Have you ever looked and envied any of those persons ever? Like, have you ever looked at it, like, there's someone, there's an example to live up to.
I always feel bad for the person that's like, I want $100 of this ticket. And you're like, it doesn't matter how many hundreds you just spent. You didn't have that
No, and then they try to game it because, like, oh, it's the ticket's in the middle or at the end of the.
Oh yeah, no, they all got their.
They all have a system. But have you ever looked
and
at
that
those
one
places?
time they won $1,000 6 years ago.
And they've spent, $15,000 in scratch-off tickets. That's why I loved the touch play so much, because it took that person, put them in the back of the store. I didn't have to wait, because if you're the person who scratches your tickets at the counter, all right, you deserve, I don't know, some sort of imprisonment. Like a CIA black ops team should come, rendition you to, like, Pakistan.
What about just hitting them in the back of the knee so they fall out of your way?
Well, I wish and unfortunately, the customer is always right. Remember, the man who coined that phrase died penniless. The man behind the customer's already right. Died a pauper without a cent to his name, because the customer is usually awful. Some more awful than others, which we'll talk about this whole Black Friday mess. How many people died?
I don't know.
Only one that I know of so far.
No idea.
And that was an alleged shoplifter in Georgia was taken down. Might have been roughed up a little bit and
Tased.
died in custody.
Did you go Friday shopping?
I went, but not intentionally. Jen's brother needed some formal clothes for a wedding that's coming up in January. So, and again, I'm up in Nowheresville,
Your wedding?
Wisconsin.
Hey, I just thought I'd ask.
No, Nowheresville, Wisconsin. It's 40 minutes to get to a J.C. Penney's. It's a 40-minute drive from where we were at to, like, civilization.
To J.C. Penney. That's civilization.
As close as you're going to come.
That's
yeah.
scary. Did they all have their teeth?
Most. It's a shopping center that makes Southridge look booming and bustling. To give you an idea of where.
Have you seen that recently though? It was actually pretty packed.
I haven't.
Black Friday.
I gotta admit, it's been a while.
They redid that whole thing. They knocked.
I'm not until they put the water slide back. I'm not going.
No, they even
Southridge
knocked down
Mall.
the tower that used to be.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, the tower's gone.
Oh, the big thing on the roof. They finally got rid of that.
Yep, it's completely gone.
Yeah, until they bring back the water slide. Like, I'll slum it at Valley West or Merle Hay, fine, but I draw the line. I'm very upset with Southridge because it was the most asinine thing. That and the pirate ship. Remember, they built a pirate ship there for a while. Until they bring those back, but yeah, it was a 40-minute drive, and it was like noon, so all the Black Friday shopping, no pushing, no shoving, no big crowds because no one lives there.
I went out at midnight.
Oh God, did you?
We went to Best Buy.
What'd you get?
You know what? We actually, a friend of ours who's a single mother wanted to get some Kindles that were on sale, and she couldn't have babysitter.
How much was a Kindle?
It was like $159 with a $30 Best Buy gift card.
Oh,
Also, so it worked out to
so
be
you're getting like $120.
Yeah, it was definitely
For
worth
the
it.
Kindle Fire.
Yeah, it was the Kindle Fire. So we went and got her a couple of those.
How were the lines?
You know, the lines were ridiculous.
Did they have all the? Because I've heard this is Best Buy's strategy. They all have strategies to keep you in the store longer, and Best Buy's is to have too few cashiers.
Yeah, they definitely. The worst part about it, we drove up right about 5 minutes before midnight, and there was a line all the way down to the Home Depot because I'm on the south side. So there's literally a line to the Home Depot, which is about probably an eighth of a mile.
Oh.
So I said, screw this, we're going to go find something else. We'll come back in an hour or two. We drove around to the next store, we were going over by Southridge to the Target or something like that. And there was a line all the way around Southridge Mall, it seemed like. And we were like,
why would you?
Because Route 21 was open. I mean, that's
like, why would you? Like, is there anything that you could buy? Like, could you go today and get that deal on the?
I have
Kindle?
no idea. But I do know that there's nothing to do in Iowa at midnight, so I was like, okay, whatever.
There is. It's called anything but standing outside to get cheap.
We didn't stand
consumer
outside.
goods.
We drove back to Best Buy 5 minutes after it opened, walked right in the doors, parked right next to the door, walked right into the door, got our Kindle, waited 30 minutes in line for the Kindle, watched a pregnant girl pass out and had to walk over her head, which was pretty bizarre because I felt really bad as we were walking over her head. Going, that can't be a good thing. And the police officer standing there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
I don't know. I don't got to. It's Friday, or it was it was Thursday night, midnight. I don't know.
Yeah, people camp out for days.
It's like the video game geeks, so that wait all night to
but
get
a
Halo
midnight
4.
release is one thing because you go to your GameStop and it's a little bit of a party atmosphere, and there's like 20 people there.
Yeah,
Like,
I just go in the next day and pick it up.
Well, yeah. Or, these days you just download it online. You get it through Steam. It's all taken care
See,
of.
but I'm a console gamer. There's no downloading online for me.
What about the Xbox Live stuff?
Yeah, I'm not gonna download.
Everything has to have a disc.
I don't know. I don't know if you can get the big games on there. Halo 4 takes 8 gig of my hard drive space. I had to go buy an old hard drive and strip it down to make it work.
No thanks.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
All right, we're gonna get actually started with the program.
This is the best program you've done so far. I don't know. Try them out.
Well, it's nice that election's over, but there's still political maneuverings about, and this is something that happened during my downtime. But it's when Governor Branstad and I agree on something, it's usually for different reasons.
He's getting censured for that, by the way. I just got an email about censuring him.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, from whom? Which wackaloon group?
Oh, no. This is like establishment guys.
No, the establishment guys are on his and my side. It's the wackaloons.
They're going to censor him.
The Ron Paul nuts and Dace and the wing nuts.
Oh, no.
Who, by the way, are responsible for Branstad and I agreeing on this. And plus, I have a confession to make. I told you, and I'll tell the audience when we come back. I've done a horrible thing. I'll explain that more. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Or just go to thebradshawshow.com. It's an internet website on the information superhighway. That's that series of tubes that connects your old Packard Bell to places all over the internets. I know, it's crazy like that. Best thing since GeoCities. Log on www.thebradshawshow.com. Thebradshawshow.com. It's got links to archives and all the connections and stuff there. So go to thebradshawshow.com. Stop by and, say hello. When we come back, Branstad and I agree, which scares me, and a horrible thing that I did over the break. I know what you did over the Thanksgiving break. Scary stuff. Talk about it when we come back here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Back after this.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, it's got to be, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
If you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? You can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
Fixed Rider, it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
Start.
Rock concert movement number 1. The basic head bob. Ready, go.
All right, straight up 2 o'clock, Bradshaw back here on Webcast One Live. And before we get into why Sky Admiral Michelle Bachmann might not be good for the state of Iowa, I did a horrible thing over the break. I saw just pristine innocence, so gleaming white. It was blinding to my horrible eyes. And I saw that beauty and I saw that innocence and I crushed it. I crushed it with an iron boot and reveled in my destruction. And what I mean, Jen had never heard or seen Gangnam Style by South Korean phenomenon Psy. You know what I'm talking about. She had never seen the video. She like knew the name but knew nothing of it. This, I think, would be seen as maybe like an introduction to something kinky, not a cultural phenomenon.
Is that what his name is? Is Psy?
Psy, yeah.
P-S-Y?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like the guy at Ohana's. That's a different Psy. This one, yeah. So being stuck in a car for 7 hours, I had to, thanks to the mobile internet, show it to her. And then show her Psy with MC Hammer and performing with Madonna. And I didn't get to Klingon Style, which is my personal favorite parody. And so now she, I feel like some sort of pop culture zombie, and I found a fresh brain, and it had to brains, and I have destroyed something beautiful. Not proud of myself. In retrospect, I feel dirty, but it was something that had to be done. All right, phone number is 244-0077. You can email radiobradshaw@gmail.com and find me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Brian emails, 50 Inches of Bradshaw is the title, and I guess I thought it was Viagra spam. Turns out, no. Brian had to leave work early today. He's watching the show at home on a big TV. Yeah, that's not disturbing at all. As a radio guy who has a camera in front of him, thanks. Thanks for making me more self-conscious. I appreciate that. It is better than trying to watch on a phone. Does anyone else have Sprint and your download speeds are absolutely god-awful these days? All right, neither here nor there. This is the big news, at least for the state of Iowa. And came out on Tuesday after I had left. I was gone the rest of the week, so it was my first chance to deal with it and get to talk about some of the aftermath. Now, after that period between the Ames straw poll, which is what we're going to talk about, and the Iowa caucuses, is kind of a strange time. And after going to and witnessing the straw poll, it's Rick Santorum, it's Tim Pawlenty. I have eaten some of Santorum's jelly. Really, the Santorum family, I guess, makes jelly, and they were giving out samples. So I've eaten Santorum jelly. I came away with the impression that, A, the straw poll is overall bad for Iowa. And that Iowa is and I've been saying this for years, Iowa is now a hindrance in winning the Republican nomination, winning the general election. Now, certainly the Republican Party has much bigger issues than just the rip-off artists at the Republican Party of Iowa. But this is one of the bigger issues, and this whole thing started when Terry Branstad gave an interview with the Wall Street Journal and said that he believed the straw poll has outlived its usefulness, which I found a strange sentiment because money, I believe, is always useful, especially in politics. And that's what the straw poll is about. So it's been a great fundraiser for the party, but I think its days are over. Now, he cited Sky Admiral Michelle Bachmann. I call her that because for one of the debates, she looked like something out of the Rocket Man. Invested a ton of money, all right, a huge operation. Because again, for those of you who have never gone, the Ames straw poll is, it's just a huge money sink to support the Republican Party of Iowa. It starts with they hold a bidding. Do you want like good plot placement at Hilton Coliseum and in the parking lot where all the events hold? You got to pay money, all right, for that. Tickets. Any person who buys a ticket to the Ames straw poll is a sucker, because all you have to do is ask a campaign, whether it's Thad McCotter, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Santorum, Newt Gingrich. They buy the tickets. Right? The campaigns buy tickets, distribute them to supporters, which they then, bus to Ames, ostensibly as a test of organization. Can you think of it as a big political game of hungry hippos? Can you collect the most people, get them to the location, get them to vote for you, win the straw poll, and you receive this kind of false, media-driven momentum? The problem is the people who are likely to go to an event like that, take time out of an August weekend in Ames, especially if you're getting on a bus from Dubuque or Sioux City. All right, these are the committed of the committed. This is the absolute activist base of the Republican Party, and they are all bat crap insane. This is how Michelle Bachmann wins. That and, I'm from Iowa. I'm from the same town as John Wayne Gacy. She left out the Gacy part. Which I'm pretty sure that's not a tagline she's using while running for the House in Minnesota. I'm just guessing she's not playing up her Iowa roots. There, she says, I'm an Iowan. The Moonbats, the Wingnuts, all right, those are the types of folks who show up. Your Gadsden flag, Rascal Scooter, keep your government hands off my Medicare. Can I bring my AR-15? Those are the folks showing up in droves, and I don't think it's by magic coincidence. Your last two Republican nominees wanted nothing to do with the straw poll, saw it as the waste of time and money that it is. Those resources are far better used elsewhere, even that far out from the caucuses and from the election. So McCain showed us. This whole thing started because he felt the need to bash ethanol subsidies. So his campaign wrote off Iowa before it even started. And boy, sure, that hurt him on the way to the nomination. And even now you have, Republican shills like Doug Gross saying part of Romney's loss in the general election was because of Iowa. And, well, Doug Gross and I do not agree. I don't even think we'd agree that it's 2:08 in the afternoon right now. I think he would find some way to blame that on Barack Obama. I think he's right on this one. I think he is the broken clock in this case. The positions you have to take to appease the Wingnuts Moonbats, a.k.a. the sort of people who show up to a straw poll, your activists, your even Iowa caucus goers. All right, the positions you need to take hurt you in the general election unless you're going to etch-a-sketch them away. And I've been saying this for years, but now I guess establishment Republicans are on board. They understand that Iowa is an impediment. It's not a help in winning. It's not a hand up. It's a Republican Party of Iowa looking for a handout. See how that rhetorical game works, guys? And it turns out the highwaymen, who for years now have been holding up these campaigns saying, hey, you want to win in Iowa? It's a nice campaign you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Pay up. Turns out, It's not quite Spielberg taking all the guns from ET and turning them into walkie-talkies, but close. It turns out they're just shooting spitwads. Why pay the money? Why put forward the effort? Why divert resources to win a name straw poll like Michelle Bachmann did, with the misguided hope that would launch you to front-runner status and cement you in Iowa, and then you can be taken seriously and take that momentum into, North Carolina, or New Hampshire and South Carolina. No. In fact, that's a bad thing to do. It kills, look at Tim Pawlenty. This guy went all in on the straw poll, again, looking to boost himself up. It was the end of his campaign. And even Michelle Bachmann, look, she spent the money, she put in the effort, and it was an impressive organization. But what did she get from it? Now, she didn't even win the news cycle because as, we're walking around noticing how weird all the Ron Paul people are, at the very same time, somewhere in a bat cave down in Texas, Rick Perry is announcing that he's going to run for president, sucks the, news oxygen out of the room. And she doesn't even get a full day's worth of news coverage, which is certainly valuable. Got to share it with Rick Perry. If anything, that was the headline story of the day. And Bachmann winning was, we'll put that under the fold. So I think Branstad and the establishment guys are realizing that, again, not only is it harmful in a Republican running for president, it would also endanger our first-in-the-nation status if we're seen, again, as a money sink and a speed bump. That's just another nail. When you have 40 other states saying, hey, how come these guys suck up all the money, all the attention? And again, these arguments have been going on for years. So Branstad is saying it's time for it to go. I mean, the problem is, yes, he is the most prominent Republican in the state, but it's not his call. His call, or the person whose call it actually is A.J. Spiker. He is the current head of the Republican Party of Iowa. Before that, you may remember him in such hits as the Ron Paul campaign. Ah, yes, he's one of those people. With the Republican Party being a distressed brand. We've seen this in states, Minnesota, Nevada, and here in Iowa. As Republican enthusiasm is dampened, shall we say. There's a lot of Republicans rename themselves as independents. This is why it's not such a big... Mitt Romney can win independents. Yeah, because they're a bunch of former Republicans. But as enthusiasm is down, as participation is down, the Romulans, the Paulistinians, what was it, Paul Qaeda? That's another good one. Decided they were going to try to take over the Republican Party from the inside. They've been very successful in this. A.J. Spiker is a Ron Paul bot. They are staffing the Republican Party of Iowa with Ron Paul people. Part of what makes Ron Paul people work is they can get this not very large, but very dedicated, very Lyndon LaRouche-esque. There's definite, maybe not parallels, but you see the resemblance. There's some echoes of the LaRoucheites there. And they can, again, pack a meeting. They can show up in mass at straw polls. And again, they've never quite figured out how to expand that little base to bring in others, but the ones that are there are very, very dedicated. So they've managed to infiltrate the Republican Party. The head of the Republican Party in Iowa, staff members of the Iowa GOP, they're Romulans, and this is one of their methods of taking over the party. Plus, if you're the head of the Republican Party of Iowa, your main job, I mean, yes, you need to, recruit candidates, and yes, you need to, be a good host for the numerous politicians who come. But your number one job is fundraising. And that's the number one job of the straw poll. So if the straw poll goes away, well, you have a rather large fundraising deficit you need to make up. And frankly, colloidal silver sales and pure strain gold parties aren't going to get the job done. So A.J. Spiker didn't just, say, hey, you know what, I disagree, and the straw poll is a time-honored event, and the best opportunity to plant some grassroots and place an infrastructure for the Iowa caucus. Took some shots at Branstad as well. By the way, so did Dace. And again, I thank Steve Dace for helping Democrats here in the state as much as he has. Because let's be honest, how many people go, if he's on that side, I want to be on the other side of the street. So the only people who hate conservatives more than Democrats are people like Terry Branstad. I'd almost rather have Barack Obama's endorsement in 2016 than Terry Branstad's. It tells all the Ron Paul people and social conservatives who not to vote for. It's a preemptive strike aimed at conservatives to keep establishment control of the Republican Party and trying to stop Rand Paul. And this is a beautiful, these are people who just, again, refuse to learn. Bruce Bartlett, who was an long time, economic advisor to the Reagan White House, one of the chief evangelicals when it came to supply side trickle down economics, right? Worked at the Heritage Foundation, worked at Cato, has his conservative card punched. He's a long-standing member, no longer in good standing. He fought the good fight, but has an interesting piece in The American Conservative called The Revenge of the Reality-Based Community. It's a good read. It kind of lays out, and it's very me, I, poor me, but he is a, no longer in good standing member of the Republican Party for, again, daring to take on this wingnut Tea Party base that is going to keep dragging the party to the right and killing good candidates in primaries because they're insane. A bunch of know-nothing Neanderthals. But he talks a bit about the economy, credits Paul Krugman. You got to understand, Bruce Bartlett and Paul Krugman, right? Here you had this staunch conservative from the Republican, wing, a real, actual Reaganite, taking on, the leading proponent of, Keynesian economics. It was Clash of the Titans, Perseus versus the Kraken. He spends, a few, long paragraphs saying, Krugman got it exactly right. He was, has been calling it nonstop. It's good. Said at least a few conservatives now recognize that Republicans suffer for a stomach closure. They were genuinely shocked at Romney's loss because they ignored every poll not produced by a right-wing pollster such as Rasmussen or approved by a right-wing pundit such as the perpetually wrong Dick Morris. Living in the Fox News cocoon, most Republicans had no clue that they were losing or that their ideas were both stupid and politically unpopular. I'm disinclined to think Republicans are yet ready for a serious questioning of their philosophy or strategy. They comfort themselves with the fact that they held the House due to gerrymandering and think that just improving their get-out-the-vote system or throwing a few bones to the Latino community will fix their problems. there appears to be no recognition that their defeats are far, far deeper and will require serious introspection and rethinking of how Republicans can win going forward. The alternative is permanent loss of the White House, probably the Senate as well, which means they can only temporarily block Democratic initiatives, never advance their own. I was going to say, I've paid a heavy price, both personal and financial, for my evolution from comfortably within the Republican Party and conservative movement to a less than comfortable position somewhere on the center left. Honest to God, I am not a liberal or a Democrat, but these days, they are the only people who will listen to me. When Republicans and conservatives once again start asking my opinion, I'll know they're on the road to recovery. Again, this is a guy from the Reagan White House. Personally, gave Dick Cheney an update on the economy back in the day. Has his conservative bona fides, and then some. Stupid and unpopular. Maybe that's the motto. If you're a Doug Gross or Terry Branstad and you're trying to remake the Republican Party, maybe you need to look at the Steve Deaces, the Steve Schefflers, your Jeff Mullins, the whole gamut to, Bob Vanderplatz and that grifter wing who sees the right wing as a bunch of rubes and dupes and makes a lot of money off of them. To the true, wingnut believers, Steve Deace, who, spends his career preaching about a God he created in his own image. All right, to the Ron Paulsians, and with apologies to James Carville, maybe this is the message that Republicans need to understand. It's the stupid. When 2/3 of the American people say, I think it's probably a good idea to raise taxes on millionaires and billionaires in the middle of this worst recession ever. And you're going to make your platform, we're going to cut taxes for rich people. And expect that to do well. What's the definition of insanity again? And how this ties back with the straw poll. Again, these things you have to say to win the support of Jeff Mullen, of Bob Vanderplatz, of Steve Deace, of this Republican base that just lives in a current, and constant state of fear and paranoia, anger. The red meat you have to toss them doesn't just disappear into the ether anymore. There are TV cameras at your AIM straw poll speech. These days, there are plenty of groups like Center for American Progress or even just the Iowa Democratic Party or Democratic campaigns. When you go to the Pizza Ranch in the middle of nowhere and, speak to those 30, 40 supporters, hoping to turn them into, evangelical volunteers, right? There's someone with a flip phone or, some sort of camera device recording your every word. And when you say the really crazy stuff that they showed up at Pizza Ranch to hear, it's going to be disseminated far and wide. When you go to the soapbox at the state fair and say, corporations are people, my friend, that might pop up a few other times in the media. And Republicans are still not ready. They don't understand they live in a YouTube world now. You give a stupid answer about dog fighting, it's probably going to go viral. So this killing of the straw poll is a first attempt to limit the influence of wingnuts, moonbats, and wackaloons. But most importantly, when it comes to politics, losers. Yeah, Republicans can win gerrymandered districts. Hey, a Republican can win in western Iowa. No duh, as the kids would say. They do very well in portions of the country where no one lives in. But as states like Texas, even Georgia, get bluer, Arizona, even the solid South shows some, if you're a Republican, some disturbing trends. And show me a Republican path to the White House that doesn't include Texas. I'd love to see what kind of Dick Morris-like map you can come up with. And that's, again, a part of the problem that Republicans nationally are going to have to deal with. Here in Iowa, we have our own issues and problems, and that is, again, remaining first in the nation. And if you're the head of the Republican Party of Iowa, if you're a Republican governor, a Republican lawmaker, all right, that thought has to be in your head at all times. Maintain our first in the nation status, because at some point in the future it will go. All right, your goal is to hold on to it as long as possible. At some point, the other states that are yelling for it will make a good enough argument. You'll lose it. Now, whether that happens, it's not going to happen in 2016. Maybe it's 2020. Maybe it's 2024. But at some point, you're going to lose it. The goal is to hold on to it for as long as possible because you want all the goodies that are associated with it. But even that, go back even a decade and imagine, the Senate voting to get rid of ethanol subsidies. It was unthinkable. You can't offend the people of Iowa. Now, not so much. Your last two Republican nominees didn't win the Iowa caucus. And they didn't even participate in your straw poll. So you can hold a straw poll, but what if no one shows up? What if, your Chris Christie's and Marco Rubio's realize that this is a problem? I don't want to win this. I don't want to do what it takes to win this. That cause me more problems in the long term. For very little, it turns out, gain. The days of the Iowa GOP playing a highwayman. Sorry, road to the White House runs through here. Got to pay the toll. Are over. The first signs were in 2008 when Mitt Romney dropped 2007, dropped a ton of cash, right, on the state, over $10 million, just in the caucus process and the straw poll. Got nothing for it. Got a worse return on investment than Karl Rove's super PAC. So, see, John McCain, who blew it off, walked away. We gave Mike Huckabee a win, and that, well, got him, I guess, a Fox News gig and a talk radio show. So there's your 2008 winner. Last time around, they, just flip a coin. We'll call it a tie. It was such a mess. Santorum wins. Wait, no. Romney. No. Who cares? We'll just call it a tie. That cost Matt Strawn his gig. What do you get for investing in Iowa? Why not skip Iowa? And that's the ultimate question that guys like Branstad or, if the Republican Party of Iowa, heads like Spiker cared about anything other than Ron Paul, raw milk, an end of world, fantasies.
Well, but we're going to need advancements in raw milk for the end of the world.
No.
I'm telling you, we want to make sure it's safe.
Well, I mean, though, why should I compete in Iowa? If I'm a Republican, I'm better off not. I'm going to New Hampshire. I'm going to New Hampshire
I've been
and South
asking for that
Carolina.
for years.
And forget...
I blame the Iowa nice guy for the whole thing.
No, I think it's the Daces. It's the
No. It's the Iowa nice guy. He's the one that tried to convince everybody that it's still cool to be an Iowan.
I'm serious, though.
I was perfectly happy being a disenfranchised Iowan.
What do I get for winning Iowa? Why should I compete in Iowa? Why shouldn't I skip it?
As an Iowan, you get your voice heard on a national stage.
No. I'm saying if I'm a national candidate.
Nothing. That's
I want to
stupid.
win the White House.
Well,
why should I dump millions of dollars
It hasn't
Iowa.
worked for anybody that's won Iowa from at least the GOP party for years.
Well,
So
Bush. Everyone remembers the kind of Steve Forbes.
people like to forget Bush, actually.
George W. Bush. Yeah, we're not going to let you. Kind of arms race to win the straw poll. But that, I think that was the straw poll at its peak, and it's been shown to be, all bark, no bite, no return on investment, and so the state as a whole. And you have a Republican Party of Iowa, right, that sees, their big moneymaker going down the tubes. They got nothing to replace it. And to be honest, no interest in replacing it. They're more concerned, again, with, I would assume, Rand Paul.
Probably.
But I think it goes to show, again.
Let's not start talking about him yet, though. I don't want to ruin his chance.
Who do you see, again, saying it's time for the straw poll to go? Or even if they don't say it out loud, look at their behavior. Look at Mitt Romney. I'm not taking part in that. I'm not going to lower myself.
Mitt Romney lost, though, so that's probably not a good example.
Yeah, Michelle Bachmann won. And boy, that took her to the stratosphere.
Well, but my point isn't so much that it takes her to the stratosphere, but I think the whole Mitt Romney lost.
The election?
Well,
if
the
you're
election, the straw poll,
if you're Doug Gross, though, and
the
I think there's something
caucuses.
to this. You did compete in 2007 and 2008. And those positions you took yourself as the moderate governor of Massachusetts. I'm a Republican who can be elected in a blue state. I can't be elected twice, which is why I never ran for re-election. And my lieutenant governor lost by 19 points. But don't let facts get in the way of a good narrative, of a good story, of a good brand. The problem is the base of the Republican Party, as it stands now, will hate you for it. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow. And yes, this is his real name, Saxby Chambliss from Georgia, a man who won an election by calling an actual war hero who left 3 of his limbs behind in Vietnam, a close personal friend of Osama bin Laden. Saxby Chambliss is human garbage. Is facing a right-wing primary campaign that he may lose because of this just bat crap insane side of the GOP. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. So yeah, I agree with Terry Branstad. It's time to kill the Ames straw poll. Again, not because I love Republicans or want raw milk or anything like that. It's because, again, they are going to kill our first-in-the-nation status sooner than would have happened otherwise. They are going to continue to build the speed bump, if not outright roadblock, here in Iowa for the road to the White House. And that would be bad for all of us, even us card-carrying members of the ACLU. So I don't say this often. Governor Branstad is right. I believe this is just a plain truism. Steve Deace is wrong. And if Republicans were smart, you need to get elected before you can do anything. Realize the guys who are making their money off you, all right, the Vanderplatzes and the Daces, might not have your best interests at heart and are fighting back and going to do everything they can to hold on to, their influence, their filthy lucre, in spite of the losses. And they're going to look for excuses. They're going to look for fall guys and patsies, and never absolutely in any way, shape, or form look inward, because they know. Of course, Limbaugh knows he is feeding you, shovelful after shovelful of BS. But it's very lucrative for him to do so, and when reality fights against that, it doesn't turn out well for anyone. Well, except us. We got 4 more years. And the Senate. You're welcome. All right, so we'll talk more about this tomorrow as I come closer to figuring out my plan for what I do when I win the Powerball. So we'll reconvene tomorrow here at 1:30 on thebradshawshow.com. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Like I said, we'll reconvene tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel here on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.